Facepalm America. I'm Beowulf Rockland. FacepalmAmerica.com is where you can go for more information. You know, if you want to just go to Twitter, still not calling it the other thing, you can go to @FacepalmUSA. You can search for Facepalm America on Facebook. And, of course, you can always call. Why do you never call? Why do you never write? 202-656-6271. We're happy to have you on. I know people aren't used to it anymore. You know, this is not a radio station in the sense that things used to be. It's a different... People like to text. People like to message. That's just the way it is. It is time, again, to speak with the host of This Week Again, Susanne Posel. Hey, Susanne, how's it going?
It's going. You know, I wish I lived in Finland. I'd be a lot happier, but, you know.
Almost any place, it seems like. My gosh. You know,
Well, it looks like Finland is the happiest place on earth. And I think, you know, like looking at the life expectancy, just solidified it for me. 82 years on the average. Wow. 85 for women, 79 for men.
Yeah,
we have life expectancy here is 79. And that's
right.
Up from last year.
That's right. We fell under 80. I think it might have even been before COVID. I mean, I know we took a big dip because of COVID, but I mean, I saw that story and I thought to myself, yeah, this kind of reflects the zeitgeist as I know it in the United States of America. And young people are leading this because they're particularly unhappy. And it's so funny to me. It's just, I mean, you know, people reacting to this and the New York Times trying to figure it out. Why are people unhappy? What's wrong with them? Is it just like, I mean, is it their, you know, they got a bad mentality or their mindset or whatever? And I said, yeah, it's a real struggle to figure out, like, when you can't afford rent and you don't have a job that pays you enough to get by, if you even can get a job, in the face of the fact that you can see like lies about that everywhere around you, and that, oh yeah, the unemployment rate is really low and there's so many jobs right now, and then to actually face what the reality of that is when you actually try to go and get a job and pay for things and how much more you have to pay for things. It's ridiculous. Yeah. It's ridiculous.
It's like, I know that these people are hired to read a teleprompter. I do. I understand that. And I also understand they're not hired to be like people, you know, to insert their own opinion.
Humanity is not our profession at the moment.
Unless you work for Fox, not a news channel, because that is fotainment. So, and their words, not mine, in court proceedings.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Yeah, you're right.
I am completely flabbergasted by how these people read these things, you know. Okay, so employment is up and inflation is down.
Right.
Yeah, but I don't see that when I'm shopping. And I know that inflation is different in other, you know, areas, and then all the nuance that goes on with it. But in a general sense, I know that I'm spending at least twice as much on the same items.
Right. No.
And when people I know, my husband and I have our own business, so luckily I'm not in that looking for a job. But
yeah,
people I know who do and they are either not receiving a call back or any emails back.
Yeah.
Or they go through rounds and rounds of interviews just to be told at the last minute that they are not what they're looking for.
Right. Because they don't really want to hire. And here's the thing too, like the unemployment, like as the U.S. Labor Department like creates the unemployment numbers, they are just not accurate. And I am trying, and I've talked to him before, and I'm trying to schedule an interview with him again, because I got it like 2 days ago in my email a press release from the Ludwig Institute for Shared Economic Prosperity. And they're good folks over there, because they have what is an actual, like, true rate of unemployment that reflects like much better, more comprehensive information, and that takes into account like what adequate employment is, not just like employment of any kind. And so let me read this, because like the headline here is functional unemployment is at the highest level since 2021. And it starts out, even though the job market expanded in February, a smaller percentage of those positions are paying a living wage, resulting in the highest functional unemployment rate in 2.5 years, according to the monthly true rate of unemployment report by the Ludwig Institute for Shared Economic Prosperity. And I say to myself, why do they keep reporting these numbers when they don't mean anything? I mean, I keep like asking myself when they say, why, there were 100,000 jobs created last month. What is a job? What does that mean?
Because for the most part in my lifetime, these sort of things were just reported on and we accepted them.
Yeah.
We didn't look into them. With the advent of the internet.
Yeah.
And the explosion of its usage as an encyclopedia, a source of vast information, a source of vast perspectives on the same topic. You have people who are not falling for it anymore. So like, I think I mentioned this on previous shows with you, the whole government shutdown thing that they do, the drama every year.
Yeah.
The younger generations are not falling for this. The millennials, the Gen Z, the Alpha, even young Gen X like myself, we're not falling. We know that this is theater for you.
Yeah.
What we want is actual results. We want a living wage. Yeah. If you're going to raise prices, you have to raise wages. And people complain about the cost of doing business, but isn't that free market capitalism? If you can't afford to do business, then don't do it.
Yeah, you've got to adjust. You've got to make it work. And this actually ties in with something else that we're going to discuss. But there's this mentality in late stage capitalism that is just like extraordinarily entitled. That basically says it's a given that I've got to like make a profit. And make a substantial profit of such and such an amount, and anything outside of what I've determined to be acceptable in terms of profit or wealth is just like it's not possible, and therefore I can't. It's not possible to make policy around that, and so, or it's not possible to pay a wage around that. And so, like, you see these businesses that say, well, people just don't want to work anymore because what they offer in terms of a wage is not acceptable and doesn't allow people to live. But because they have an abstract number in their heads, some of these like business owners, and they're usually big business owners, they refuse to admit that they could actually raise wages in order to like solve their labor problem, and that's what they can't make themselves believe that, and it's the same thing.
Well, we're dealing with old people. Think about the age in which we're dealing with. Okay, right. Think about the average age of the CEOs of these companies we're dealing with.
Yeah,
and the politicians that we're dealing with. Mm-hmm. These people are old. They don't remember. My parents bought a brand new, wasn't even built condo in an area that was still being built.
Yes.
For $25,000 in 1981.
Yes.
My parents would have no idea.
Right.
In fact, I am shocked when I look at, because I've got a child who's heading toward 18, barreling toward it right now. And I am looking at how much things cost, what the prospect of their wage is going to be coming out of the gate, because they're going to have to get a job in retail in order to propel them to, at least have some sort of nest egg while they go to college or while they figure out what they want to do. And if they do that, which is the path that I took initially, I was like, Mom, I don't need college. Yeah, I did. But at first I was like, I could do this on my own. I could afford an apartment on my own
Yeah.
working at a record store.
Oh
My
man,
kid cannot do that.
Wasn't that the dream job of like a young person in the 1990s?
Well, yeah,
I just
yeah. And then
man,
they opened up a Barnes and Noble, which was beginning
yeah,
across the street, and I
they
got
crushed
an
it.
even better paying job. It
Oh,
was
cool. Okay.
daytime. It was 7 to 3:30. I was a supervisor of a department,
Mm-hmm.
and you know how much I was making?
How much?
I got a $2 raise. Now
Wow.
making $7.25.
That's you see, and numbers I mean you try to tell like older people like 50, the fight for 15. God, that's not enough. You need 20 to get by. And they said, well, I don't understand that. I used to make $2 an hour, and this is the problem in part because like you have these memories in your head.
It is the problem
Yeah.
in total, actually.
Yeah.
Because they don't. I have a hard time, and I have to remind myself it was way cheaper back then. And my kids, I'm having trouble right now. And my husband and I, we make pretty good money. We don't make incredible money.
Yeah.
But if I'm going back to like the late 90s, early 2000s, we're making insane money.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nowadays, I was looking at the IRS, their expansion of the brackets.
Yeah.
We just barely made it over the poverty line.
My gosh. Yeah.
That's insane to me.
Yeah. You have to take a wheelbarrow. It's like Germany in the early 1920s. You have to take a wheelbarrow full of Deutschmarks in order to buy a loaf of bread. It's just completely ridiculous. And I really think like the psychological phenomenon that you're talking about is totally used like by hyper-capitalists to manipulate people into having an expectation of less. Because when you say, well, I want, $150,000 a year for this job, for a lot of people that says, well, that's ridiculous. You're just asking too much. But in terms of what you actually need in a lot of places to get by, when you're talking about major metropolitan areas, like the San Francisco Bay Area, which is probably worse than any place else in the country, even New York these days. It really does take that kind of money in order to get there. It's like and you would have like God when I was living down there 20 years ago, like that would have been an amazing amount of money. I mean, it would. Yeah. I should say it would have been adequate. That would have been middle class. Now it's like probably enough to get by. Maybe.
And that there is no prospect for the younger generation. Yeah. And so, I know that on the floor of the House, I can't remember which Republican, but screaming about future workers and the infertility rate. Look, I am advising my children.
That's the problem. Yeah, the women are not producing enough babies. We need them to be even more controlled than they are now. It's just.
I am advising my children. Number one, marriage is not a contract. So if you want to get married, do everything but sign those papers, because you should be free to walk if you want to without the government or the local government or anybody telling you how to do anything.
Yeah.
Unless you can't figure stuff out. And then there's lots of services to help you with mediation.
Yeah.
Okay. And then secondly, they need to understand that their futures are theirs.
Yeah.
They are not promised to someone. Like, the Republicans are just saying the quiet part out loud. And I'm going to talk about this on my show. We got to talk about Project 2025 again, because this shit's getting real now with the Republicans releasing their plans for 25.
Yeah.
And it's right there. Everything. It's funny because Biden got so much shit with the State of the Union address the next day from the Republicans. Oh, they lied. He lied when he said that we want to reduce Social Security or any of those other things that he was saying. No, he was lying to us that we want to